Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with another Assassin's Creed legendary creature that I'm trying to turn into a commander deck, and this one really does do its job. Ivor, Wolf Kissed, 3 red, green and white for a 7/6 human assassin warrior, trample and haste. And whenever either Wolf Kiss deals combat damage to a player, you mill that many cards. You may put a Saga card or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Okay then, yeah, this is purely a whole new Saga type deck. We had Tom Bombadil a while back that hit all 5 colours of Sagas, but there's a couple of other cards that work with this as well. And I could have gone with Sigurd, Jarl of Ravenstorm, or Harvey, who I played around last week. But I decided that for my for my Saga deck, I really want to stick with Ivor, so I have. I really like it. 7/6, 6 mana, trample and haste. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. So this is what today's deck really does look like. Before we go, you got to remember though, this is a deck that's really focused on enchantments. So a lot of the cards you're about to see, you would have seen before, and they are quite common enchantment type decks. So bear with me. First off, Generous Visitor, because we might as well try and get a bigger creature as we play the enchantments. Arbazmir seems to be turning up everywhere at the moment when I'm looking at Assassin's Creed decks, because it does really revolve around historic permanents. So Sagas are historic, and it's another one where hopefully you can ping your opponents and you will gain one. That's fine. Bramble Familiar lets us mill the 7 cards, and we get to put a creature or land card, or a creature, enchantment or land card from among them onto the battlefield, or we can have it as a bit of mana ramp, so that works for me. Destiny Spinner stops all our Sagas being countered, and then eventually we can turn our lands into big elemental creatures, where X is the number of enchantments we control, so it should work with a bit of luck with this deck. It's a red deck, Dockside here, sorry, had to have it in, need the treasures to cast out the Sagas as we get there. And then the ones you would expect to see in any enchantment deck, Herald of the Pantheon and Jukai Naturalist cut down the cost of all our Sagas by 1 each. Herald gives us life, and Jukai Naturalist has lifelink itself, so it's a reasonable blocker. Cameo Transcendience, yep, gets bigger whenever we cast an enchantment spell, and then we get to bring it back if it's been killed off when the Sagas go to the graveyard. Yeah, okay then, I'm happy with that. Nessian Wanderer lets us look for lands, and we get to put the other cards on the bottom of our library in a random order once we cast the enchantments. Sanctum Weaver helps us cast the enchantments, again creature you'd expect to see in any enchantment deck. Satsuki, the Living Law, specially designed commander purely for the Sagas. I remember back in Neon Dynasty. Put a law counter on each Saga you control, activate it only as a sorcery, and when Satsuki the Living Law dies, choose one, return a Saga or enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand, or return target Saga card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Starflow Mystics here as well to make sure the cost goes down. Sithis gives us life in card draw when we cast them. Calyx, Guided by Fate, if we can get some combat damage in with this specifically. We have no auras in the deck, so we can't put it on anything else. But if we can get Calyx in for some damage, we can actually copy one of the Sagas. But at the end of the day, or another enchantment as battlefield under you control, you put +1/+1 counter on target creature. You can build your creatures up even bigger. It's lovely if you've got Calyx in play and Ivor in play, and just make Ivor even bigger so you're getting even deeper into your library. But be careful, you can mill yourself out. And I'm not playing Elixir of Immortality for a change, so I will warn you now, be careful. Glorian Dwarf Emissary lets us have a treasure token when we cast a historic spell, which triggers only once a turn, but we can sack a creature and goad something that's annoying us. Knight of Doves gives us, whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you get to have a 1/1 bird creature token, so it gives you a little bit of benefit from the Sagas eventually going to the graveyard. Lauren, yep, blows up something that's annoying us and gives some card draw. Satar Enchanter lets us draw cards when we cast enchantments. The Champion is also here, gets bigger whenever an enchantment is the battlefield under our control. Gets a +1/+1 and we get a card draw. Sigurd, I did play Sigurd here. It's worth having in here for the boast. Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Boast 1. Put a law counter on up to 1 target Saga you control, or remove 1 from it. Activate only if this creature has attacked this turn, and only once each turn. And then whenever a law counter from a saga, whenever you put a law counter on a saga you control, put a +1/+1 counter on up to one other target creature. Another way of making Ivor even bigger if you've got them both in play. Starheim Corsair cuts the cost down, gives us a little bit of flying fun to chuck some +1/+1 counters on. Vidurian Enchantress, play an enchantment spell, draw. Yavimaya Enchantress gets +1/+1 for each enchantment we have on the battlefield. Jahara's Ancestor is also here, cuts down the cost of all our historic and our, well, basically all our historic spells, so reduces the cost of our sagas again. And Teshar Ancestor's Apostle, whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tesha's here for a very specific reason. If you actually look at the casting costs of all the other creatures I've just mentioned at the start of this video, with the exception of Ivor, everything apart from the familiar costs 3 or less. Very nice bit of way of reanimating any of these early creatures that have been killed off that you want to get back into play. Great. 2 Planeswalkers, nothing too fancy. Calyx, Destiny's Hands him. Hopefully we get to the -7 to return all the enchantment cards from our graveyard to the battlefield. The +1 is pretty useful as well. Go and find an enchantment and put the rest of the card into our hand, the rest on the bottom of our library in any order. And then if we have to exile target creature or enchantment you don't control until target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield, you can do. Just hide it under something. Frelise is also here to help with the ramp and blow up anything else, and hopefully draws us some extra cards at some stage for each green creature we control. We have quite a few in the deck, so hopefully we'll get there. Spell-wise, kept it light. In Light's Intuitive, we need to go and find specific saga to deal with something. A little bit of ramp with the Lord of Growth and the Visits. Abula's Awakening gets us back one of the sagas from our graveyard that we didn't really want it to go there. Because it comes back in, but it comes back in as a creature, so you know, be careful. Replenish, the traditional enchantment, return everything from the graveyard to battlefield card. Not too bad on MTGO. Believe it's still stupid money in real life, so be careful. Triumphant Reckoning is very good, but 9 mana is also expensive. However, it does the same thing, but it brings back any artifacts that we might have killed off that we're now going to talk about. Maybe a couple of our Planeswalkers alongside all the enchantments, so it's worth the risk at 9 mana if we can get there. Kept it light on the ramp, just Soul Ring and Arcane Signet, and then one of each of the medallions, just to make it a little bit easier to cast some of the stuff. You can probably replace these with talismans if you want to, or you can go back up here and go Kodoma's Reach, Cultivate, some other green ramp spell, or another artifact subscription. I decided to do it this way because I wanted to, so yeah. Keep it simple for a change. But the sagas are not keeping it simple. Here we go. Hopefully most of these you recognise. There is one that is missing, which I will talk about. Is that Fable of the Mirror Breaker isn't on the deck? Yes, it should be here. But it's still so obnoxiously expensive on MTGO that I refuse to pick one up. From that point of view, if you want to play, if you have got one on MTGO or you want to play it in real life, drop Kumano that I've put in Faces of Kazana, and you put Fable of the Mirror Breaker in here, just so we're clear. But anyway, this is how I'm going to play it online for now, so at some stage Fable of the Mirror Breaker will drop, I'm sure. So anyway, Kumano, Arnie slays the troll, target creature you control fights up to one target creature you don't control, get a bit of red, put 2 +1/+1 counters, gain some life, lovely. Azusa's Many Journeys, extra land, life, and then becomes a creature that when it becomes blocked you untap up to 3 lands. So it's 3/3, it's pretty good. Fall of Gil-galad is also in from Lord of the Rings. Scry 2, couple of +1/+1 counters on a creature, then until the end of turn, target creature you control gains. Whenever this creature dies, draw 2 cards. Then that creature fights up to one other target creature. Okay, thank you very much for the card draw on a token. Welcome to Sweet Tooth is also in from Wilds. Human, food, and then +1/+1 counter where X is 1 plus the number of foods we control. Battle for Bregard comes back in from Kaldheim. Warrior and an elf, and then basically choose any number of artifact tokens and or creature tokens with different names. Create copies of them. Go with that. The Fall of Civilization comes in from actually the Assassin's Creed set. We both, yes, and our friend we've made at the table, both get to draw 2 cards. We then get to exile an artifact. And then you blow the board up, basically, and it includes your own board. Each player chooses 3 non-land permanents they control. Destroy all other non-land permanents. It's a real good reset button. I'm really sure it's not why it's not seeing more play at the moment. 3 mana is good. I will cope with that. Yes, giving people cards isn't great, but exiling an artifact, pretty useful. And then blowing everything up. Yeah, I'm happy with that idea. Thank you very much. Jurgen defends a temple, gets a monk that taps for mana, a couple of +1/+1 counters, then you get the dragon spirit, and you get to pay X a lot of the time, so that's lovely. Love Song of Night and Day, card draw, birds, and then counters. Herbs of Herbs and Stewed Rabbit, Lord of the Rings style, +1/+1 counters, food token, draw a card, food token, get some halflings for each food token we control. Yeah, okay then. The Aesir Escape to Valhalla is lovely. Exile a permanent card from your graveyard. You gain life equal to its mana value. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on a creature you control equal to the number mana value of the exiled card. And then when it gets to stage 3, you bounce this and the card you exiled back to your hand. You can do it all again. Who came up with this as a saga? It's great. I love it. Be turning up a bit more than it is now. Anyway, next one. First flyer only in game. Soldier, +1/+1s. Call if you got a creature with power 4 or more, you get to do the little bit of card drawing, and then you get a gold token. Yep. Huntsman Rendition. Beast. Sacrifice a beast to do the whole find a creature or land card, and put in your hand shuffle, and then pump up a couple of our creatures for stage 3. The Restoration in Vijano, I'm not going to go through because everyone probably knows what it does by now. Same with 3 Blind Mice. If you've been playing any kind of modern standard etc for a while, you know these instantly. Historian's Boon's worth mentioning though. This comes in from one of the commander sets. I can't remember which one now, but I picked it up ages ago and forgot about it until I was building this deck. 3 in white for a boon, and another non-token enchantment creature when this or another non-token enchantment is a battlefield under our control, we get a 1/1 white soldier token. And then whenever the final chapter of chapter ability of a saga we control triggers, we get a 4/4 angel with flying and vigilance. I'm playing a Saga deck. This is no brainer. I really wish this had been around. If I missed this when I did my Tom Bombadil deck back in the day, I'm going to be really gutted with myself because this is great. Corvold and the Noble Thief. Treasure, and then exile top 3 of an opponent's graveyard. Play him this turn. Library, not graveyard. Origin of the Hidden Ones deals 4 damage to any target. Then we get a couple of assassins with menace, and then whenever an assassin you control attacks this turn, get another 1/1 black assassin creature token with menace that's tapped and attacking. Okay then. Showdown of the Skulls, you all know what this does. The Crowan War, I'm hoping everyone knows it's the thieving one. Ajani Fells of Godsire is a new one that came in from Modern Horizons 3. 5 mana, exile something with power 3 or more, get a cat warrior, and then give one of your creatures double strike until the end of turn. This having double strike to the end of turn at Ivor is pretty good. Oath of Earl also comes in from, can't remember where now to be honest, but get a couple of human soldier creature tokens and a couple of knight tokens, and then put an indestructible counter on up to 1 target human, and we become the monarch. Putting the indestructible counter on Ivor, it's very, very good, just so we're clear. Mending of Dominaria just gets all our lands and a creature for 2 turns, then all our lands back from the graveyard. And then shuffle your graveyard into your library, so another way of getting everything you've milled away back if you've managed to get this back into play. And Waking the Trolls. Blow up a land, nick a land, and then have a whole load of 4/4 troll warrior creature tokens with trample equal the difference between your number of lands you control and the number of lands someone else controls. Yeah, okay then. We are a bit light on mana. I'm not sure if I've got the mana quite right. There may be 1 or 2 of these sagas we need to go. Maybe Arlene Slays the Troll needs to finish to become 36 land. 36 land, that was, sorry, between my yawn, apologies. But everything else, red, green and white lands all the way through. Nothing very fancy here. Reliquary Towers here. Temple. I didn't play Temple of the False Gods for a change. I gave it a break for this deck because I figured the land colour was more important for this. And that's it. That's my take on Ivor, Wolf Kiss. she's a lot of fun to play. The few sort of like me versus myself test games I've played have seen a lot of sagas appearing, and it's marvellously good fun. Have to be a little bit careful though, because obviously when you're playing against yourself at MTGO, there's only you, and you hit yourself with this 3 times, you kill yourself because of the commander damage thing. But you know, the triggers worked, it all looked good, and we got sagas into play, so I'm not going to complain. But that's it for now. Come back tomorrow. I have a requested deck tomorrow that I'm looking at, that I've built, and I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And then, like I say, Thursday, one of the backlog commanders that's just hit MTGO a while back that I haven't covered. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Bye.